Daddy, she said, do you think you could buy me a book? A book, he said. What do you want a flaming book for? To read, Daddy. What's wrong with the telly, for heaven's sake? We've got a lovely telly with a 12-inch screen, and now you come asking for a book. You're getting spoiled, my girl. The bricks were stained with soot and grime. There were only 2 small windows, which were closed with the shades drawn even though it was a nice day. Rising above the windows was a tall and dirty tower that tilted slightly to the left. The front door needed to be repainted, and carved in the middle of it was an image of an eye.
But Granny is so boring, said Ben. It was a cold Friday evening in November, and as usual he was slumped in the back of his mum and dad's car. Once again he was on his way to stay the night at his dreaded Granny's house. All old people are. Don't talk about your Granny like that, said Dad weakly. His fat stomach pushed up against the steering wheel of the family's little brown car.
The German airmen were where they had left them, only closer in among the rocks. One of them held Jip under his arm, his hand clamped over his muzzle. Both wore their blue greatcoats and were crouching down low, their faces relaxed, and the black revolver that was pointing at the boys was lowered.
So, on September the 10th, 1987, I know the date because I have the ship's log in front of me as I write. With every nook and cranny loaded with stores and provisions, we were at last ready to set sail on our grand adventure, our great odyssey.
But Mowgli did not want to live in the man village, so early the next morning, before Bagheera was awake, he ran away. I don't need anyone, Mowgli said to himself, but after a while he felt very lonely.
The couple of number 4 Privet Drive were proud to say that they were perfectly normal, thank you very much. They were the last people you'd expect to be involved in anything strange or mysterious, because they just didn't hold with such nonsense. The man was a director of a firm called Grunnings, which made drills. He was a big beefy man with hardly any neck, although he did have a very large moustache. The lady was thin and blonde and had nearly twice the usual amount of neck, which came in very useful, and she spent so much of her time craning over garden fences, spying on the neighbours.
Kinder than is necessary, he repeated. What a marvellous line, isn't it? Kinder than is necessary, because it is not enough to be kind. One should be kinder than needed. Why, I love that line and that concept. Is that it reminds me that we carry with us a human being, not that its capacity to be kind, but a very choice of kindness. And what does that mean? How is it measured? You can't use a yardstick. It's like I was saying just before. It's not like measuring how much you've grown in a year. It's not exactly quantifiable.
The reader is probably asking, why would anybody go to Camp Green Lake? Most campers weren't given a choice. Camp Green Lake is a camp for bad boys. If you take a bad boy and make him dig a hole every day in the hot sun, it will turn him into a good boy. That was what some people thought. Stanley Yelnats was given a choice. The judge said, you may go to jail or you may go to Camp Green Lake. Stanley was from a poor family. He had never been to camp before.
What are the rules of the bed? She cajoled with a cheeky smirk. Elliot grinned in surrender as he clambered in next to her. No shoes, no lies, no farts, they recited together. Mum pulled the quilt over them both and Elliot snuggled into her arms. If I don't know, I can't help, she whispered. Do you ever get scared? Elliot asked eventually. Mums are always scared, she laughed. Comes with the job. How do you stop it? You don't. You embrace fear like an old friend. Why? Because if you're afraid, you are alive, she said, squeezing him tight. You make your fears, they don't make you. What are you afraid of? Elliot asked. A single day without you, said Mum softly, kissing his hair.